A very good afternoon, everyone. This is Chai. We are live from Prime Health pages. We are live from Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Um, End of the year 2022 has been good for a lot, and we were looking forward to work on towards the new year that will be coming up. A very important session we are looking forward to as we are into the festive season, and of course the new year is coming up. We all should be, looking forward some healthy. If you talk about healthy New Year's resolutions, and for that I've got a discussion that we will be in today with one of our very expert dietitian, Miss Sabah Muhammad. I would like to introduce her here. Uh, Sabah, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Fahad. Thank you.
All right. So Sabah is actually, before we start, let me just introduce her. She's having an extensive 15 years of experience in the field of nutrition and dietitian, and she's specializing in weight management, wellness, and in fact, especially women health. So what we're going to do is today's webinar is going to be more about your resolution that you're going to put into for 2023, and of course, we're going to talk about some very important topics on diet, health, what kind of food you should be eating, how we should really keep ourselves healthy, because that's very important to have a healthy, sound body and sound mind. So moving on. Before we start the session, I would want to let you know that if you have any healthy resolution for 2023, which you really want us to help you in, if you want Sabah to help you in understanding how you could really work on the New Year's resolution, definitely please put your New Year's resolution, healthier resolutions, in on the screen, and in the comment section, and we'll put it on the screen. So thank you very much, Sabah, once again for joining us. Before we get the comments coming in, I would really want you to start the conversation with me with regards to something very important that we normally talk about, is that how to lose, especially when it is the festive season and New Year is coming up. A lot of people are on holidays, having a lot of different feasts and different parties. So how to lose weight fast before a festive season, or an event coming up? What should be the approach? Even if you're trying calorie count or reduce food intakes, can it really lose the weight? How would you say on that?
Nice question, Fahad. See, fast weight loss is not a quick fix solution, right? And now the festive season around, and the new year, most of us are looking for quick solutions, quick fix solutions, right? So first of all, we need to understand that if a person has tried to lose weight for good 1 year or 6 months with all the possible add-ons that they have tried, and we are not succeeding in that, that means they need to visit an expert, endocrinologist or a qualified dietitian, to rule out if there is any underlying medical problems. So probably there could be an underlying medical adrenal or insufficiency of the thyroid which is being overlooked, right? So the person is trying everything but nothing is happening. After you visit a dietitian, she may rule out all the possibilities and everything is good. You can get started with your diet regime once again. But which is more important than diet, or I would not say diet. I don't believe in that word diet. It should be healthy eating. It should be clean eating. It should be lifestyle changes. So very important is to consider lifestyle changes. Okay, there are people who will stop sugars and carbohydrates and whatnot. They will do all possible things, but what they will forget is the lifestyle change. Probably they are not doing enough of physical activity. They're not drinking enough of water. They're not sleeping well. They have a desk job. They're not doing enough of breathing exercises. Forget proper exercises, breathing exercises also. So there, it plays a very important role. So you have to create a checklist. If you want fast, quick weight loss solution, you have to create a checklist. The first thing in the checklist should be the lifestyle and behavioral modification. So when I talk about lifestyle, as I said, all these things are important. Very important is the sleep wake cycle. Okay, the circadian cycle is very important, because if you're not able to sleep well, if you're not able to wake up well, the entire bottom metabolism is altered. So you really cannot get results with the body internally not being at peace, right? Okay, physical activity, bare minimum of 20 to 30 minutes of physical activity is a must. There are people who count steps, and we have pedometers and smart watches. You need to see how many steps you are doing. Bare minimum 6,000, 8,000 steps hona chahiye. It has to be there, right? So you need to do physical activity. If you can do small walk, people who cannot walk, there are people who are, because of the weight, they are unable to walk. So you walk for 15 minutes, rest, take 5 minutes break, again you walk. Try small steps. You set a target for yourself. So then only you can achieve what you want. Then comes to the dietary approach. The dietary approach, it is very important to understand mindful eating. What is mindful eating? When you eat, you see whether this food is really serving the purpose, or am I just filling my stomach in? Am I really hungry? Or I'm just eating because it's lunchtime or it's dinner, I should be eating. And what I'm eating, is it really good for me? I mean, this question looks a little weird from a nutritionist point of view. We are so used to it, and we feel, okay, the moment we see food, we see if I have a cola and a fresh juice, so probably I would opt for a fresh juice. But if I have fresh juice and apple or oranges, so I would probably go for fruits. So this is what is mindful eating. When you eat, you understand what am I eating. Okay, don't cut on XYZ foods, gluten free. Don't go by the fad diets. Okay, it is a trend to go by the fad diets, gluten free diet, and so many. It's better to stick to calorie restricted, portion controlled meal plans.
That's great. That's great. Thank you. Thank you for the information. So that means during the festive season and New Year parties happening around, feasting happening around, we would really want to look into the healthy or the sound eating. I should say, right? That's very important. As you just mentioned, giving an example of if we've got a cola or if we've got a juice, we should opt for a juice. And then in case if we've got an option of an apple or a juice, we should definitely opt for an apple. And I think this is a very important point that you've raised in regards to the sleeping patterns, because a lot of people during this season, they are of course not eating, not sleeping at the right time. Late night parties are happening, family get-togethers are there. So that's one part which may which may you're not looking into or focusing on. That's the sleeping pattern. In fact, if you're regularly into this, especially into the whole month of December that we look into, so that we completely understand that. Thank you very much for that. So I just wanted to understand one thing. I would like to ask you this question actually. In all of this, will a keto diet work as a quick solution for this?
Keto diets, am I audible?
Yes. Please go ahead.
Keto diets do work. They work as a quick fix solutions, but it has to be planned very well. It has to be planned very well under a supervised, specialized keto dietitian. And actually, keto diets were not meant for weight loss. They emerged over the period of years for modified keto diets, and now what is being used for weight loss. But you have to keep in mind that keto diets have a very high percentage of fats, right? Fats in all forms. They have very low amount of carbohydrates and or basically nil amount of carbohydrates and moderately high consumption of protein. So when a diet, such type of diet with a lot of fat, a lot of protein and very less amount of carbohydrates, so you're compromising on so many other essential nutrients, fiber and vitamins and minerals. Then you may end up eating supplements. So you may get a quick fix solution. You may lose 5-10 kgs, but the moment you stop that diet, you will regain it back. And then it's I have seen so many patients during years of my practice. Nobody is able to sustain a keto diet for more than 2 years also, because that is not the regular diet that we would be wanting to follow, or our parents or our family members are following. So the moment you lose that pattern and you come back to normal eating pattern, you start gradually, the weight starts creeping in and you start putting on weight. And it also has to be taken care by an expert. Why? Because of the lipid profile. Because when taking so much high amount of fat, you need to keep a thorough check on the lipid, a thorough check on the HDL, triglyceride, etc. So personally, I would not prefer keto diets unless it is specified. A condition is a therapeutic condition requires a keto diet, but a calorie restricted balanced approach would be still best. But you can do it for small periods, but can come back to the normal diet. The weaning should be very well done. So again, you need to visit to a dietitian who will help you wean from a keto to a normal diet.
Great, understood. Thank you. So now, just to let everyone know, because we've got audience watching us at the moment, please go ahead if you have any questions related to your eating habits, related to nutrition, related to dietitian, please go ahead, put your questions in the comments, and we will be answering those questions. I've got a question here for you before I move on to the next one. The question is from Inara Hussain, and she says, how do we maintain weight after keto? As we were talking about keto diet.
See, as I said, weaning from keto to normal diet is very important. So while you're on a keto diet, you've been eating a lot of amounts of fats and proteins, and all of a sudden you cannot switch to a normal diet plan. So very gradually you would have to, reduce the fats and the protein and increase the carbs. The carbs should be healthy carbs. There has to be equal amount of physical activity. See, without physical activity, no diet will work. I don't think ketos will also work. Like, and if they will work, they will not be sustained. So you have to see to that you increase the physical activity levels also. And you need to meet an expert because these are all customized and tailor-made programs. So in general, it cannot be said like, how to maintain weight, but basic is to increase steep and carbohydrates, whole grain cereals gradually. Keep a check on your ketones, how it is coming down, reduce the fat. More often than not, come to monounsaturated fatty acid because in keto you find all types of fats. So come back to good fats and lean in amounts of protein.
Great. I hope that answers the question. Thank you very much, Sabah, for answering that. I hope Nara's got the answer. Well, so what I understood from your answering to the question related to keto diet is that it may be a solution for the time being, but not a long term. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
That's right. Right. Yeah, that's great. So, coming to another option that we have is intermittent fasting. Now, intermittent fasting, is it better than the other one, better than the keto, or how do you see that?
See, Fahad, I tell you, there is no diet which is the best. There is no food which is the best. Everything in moderation is the best. Okay, so intermittent
Correct.
fasting is definitely better than keto. Personally, prefer intermittent fasting, but the structure of intermittent fasting is very important. While you're doing an intermittent fasting, during the open window, you are allowed to eat foods, but the food should be again calorie deficit diet. The diet should be again calorie deficit. The nutrient dense food should be allowed. We're not allowed to eat anything and everything under the sun. People often do that, they think that I'm doing intermittent fasting, so they, and the timing of fast is also important. So what the people do is they do intermittent fasting, but during the day or during the open window they may eat anything and everything they want. And most often than not, they will not lose weight, and they say, okay, intermittent fasting also did not work for me. I did keto, did not work. I did intermittent fasting, did not work. But you need to understand that lifestyle changes is important. So again, the sleep cycle is important. While you're doing the intermittent fasting during the open window, you're having only 2 meals, probably 2 meals and a small snack here and there. So it has to be nutrient dense. Your meals should be like a typical American Heart Association says the plate, no, it should have vegetables and fruits and good amount of protein. So there should not be any deficit of nutrients. Otherwise, you will end up, with hair loss and sagging skin and whatnot.
Correct. Now, as you mentioned, I believe there. I just wanted to ask you this question because I know somebody who's doing this, uh, not eating the whole 3 meals required in a day, or skipping meals. Will that, without any exercise, and of course no sleeping patterns, will that reduce weight, or that will be having a negative impact on one's body?
See, if you say, well, that it will reduce weight, yes, definitely it will reduce weight, but it will reduce muscle mass. Because if you're not
Ah,
exercising, if you're not
correct.
exercising, you're skipping meals, you're not eating proper foods, of course you will reduce weight, but the weight will be on scale. You will be causing deficiencies in your body. There will be a lot of
Right.
deficiency of all the important nutrients, and there will be definitely be a loss of muscle mass. And any weight loss is a good weight loss, which does not allow muscle mass to be lost. When you are changing a diet pattern, the muscle mass is lost. But as dietitian, we keep a track on the protein intake. It should not be very high. We are not telling like trainers or other people who are really
Hmm.
enforcing protein. We don't want that. We want reasonable good amount of protein so that your lean muscle mass is preserved. So any form of dieting or any form of weight reduction method you're doing, the lean muscle mass should be preserved so that your BMR, the basal metabolic rate, the rate at which you burn your calories, is maintained. So the metabolism will be going good. So if someone wants to lose weight this way, crash dieting, banana juice diet, and so many fat diets are there. Yeah, of course you can lose weight. You can lose 5 kilos also, but it will bounce back. And very often the initial weight loss is water weight. So we are losing water to
Correct.
see the weight loss.
Very well. Thank you. Thank you very much. This is going to be a very good answer for somebody who, especially who are looking into, losing the weight by not eating the complete diet. Well, I've got a question here from Dr. Asia. What are the good vegetarian sources of protein? If you can just name a few of them.
Interesting question. Vegetarian sources predominantly have dairy is a very good source of protein. Okay, low fat
Great.
cottage cheese versions. Cottage cheese is paneer, which we in an Indian context which we call, but cottage cheese has low fat versions also, so it is a good source of
Right.
protein. Soy protein can be
Uh-huh.
very good. Soy protein can be very good source of protein, but again you need to keep in mind whether the person has any thyroid insufficiency or no. So accordingly, you will allow the amounts of soy. Pulses are very good source of protein for again, but the protein in vegetarian is not the first class protein, right? It does not have all
Uh-huh.
essential amino acids, so it has to be fortified. So ideally, it has to be combined with a another source of protein. So if I say in Indian context, we use dal rice or idlis or khichdi. It's a combination of two cereal pulse combination, so it increases the bioavailability of the protein. But if you have pulses on its own, so you will be missing on a certain amino acid, which is not a very good idea. So you need to have a varied diet with different foods in it.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so very much. I hope that answers the question. Well, Dr. Asia has another question, but before that, we've got another question coming in. That is by Mr. Abdul Wahab. It's possible to explain the advanced fasting system and how, in following it, in which time can to see the results? Well, I hope you understand the question. Is it possible to explain the advanced fasting system? How we can follow it. This is what he means, and what and when can we see the results in how much time we can see the results. So when you
Uh,
talk about advanced fasting system, if you're
I think he's talking about intermittent fasting, right?
probably maybe yeah,
See,
I think
any
so also.
yeah, in advanced fasting system, in any sort of fasting system, you're restricting certain amount of calories, okay, for a time span. Okay, so the days that your non-fasting days should be having less amount of calories, like I mean, I would not say between 800 to 900 calories bare minimum, and just to for allow you to maintain the regular energy expenditure. But on the fasting days, you will be restricting the calories. So you again, as I said, you have to eat a proper constructed meal plan, okay, and the timing which is followed when the time it takes time. It takes time to show results. It will not happen overnight. We have not gained weight overnight. So it will take time, at least a week or 10 days for your body to adjust to the new system, and then it will show the results.
Great, great. I completely understand that. Uh, well, as I said, another question from Dr. Asia: how to track calories? How much is required for office going people? Now that's an very important, because I really wanted to ask, because some people, as you mentioned earlier also, when we were just starting the webinar, there are a lot of people out there who do not exercise much. Let's say I'm one of them, because we've got a sitting place, a sitting job, and even the step counts or all of these things may not be achieved the results on that. So how do you look into that part?
See, when you call such type of people are called fall under the category of sedentary lifestyle activities. So basic lifestyle, so you require basic around 1800 to 2000 calories, depending upon how much amount of physical activity you're doing. But the sedentary lifestyle, but people are walking around in the office, they require at least 1800 to 2000 calories. But when you're looking at a weight loss plan, you have to sit with a dietitian, and after a detailed history taking session, we understand what is your exact caloric expenditure, and then we reduce a certain amount of calories to put you into a calorie deficit state, and then your weight loss and whatever increase the metabolism accordingly. So ideally, according to HA, ADA, it is between 1800 to 2000 calories for a sedentary lifestyle, but it has to be customized.
Okay, and how to track the calories? So as what Dr. Asia said.
It's not a yeah, people like to track calorie. I personally don't like to track calories because it's math, right, and body is science. So we don't want to track calories. What we can understand is portion sizing. If we understand the portion sizing and the carb counting, we are half of the battle is won. So if you understand, see, this is a palm. You can see my palm.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so this is a portion of protein. So every meal of mine should have this much amount of protein. Okay, for me to give enough amount of energy. It should have not more than this amount of carbohydrates. So whole grain cereals, rice, starches, breads, whatever it is, but it should be whole grain cereals. Okay. This is the amount of fat that I need. So
You can
if
raise your hand a
this
little
is the
bit more.
amount
Yeah,
of fat,
that'll be fine. That'll be fine. Yeah.
okay, so this is the amount of fat that I need. So if I look at my plate, one full plate, half of a plate should have vegetables, half, one fourth of it should be having lean protein, okay, and one fourth should be having good whole grain cereals and starches, and a small amount of dairy because of the probiotic effect. So if you see in context, you will be tracking your calorie. It's difficult to measure the calorie. There are a lot of apps to measure the calories, but every now and then you will not be weighing things and seeing how many calories I take. It will put you more in pressure than in happiness.
Correct. 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 Thank you. Thank you so much for answering that. Uh, we've spoken about keto diet, we've spoken about intermittent fasting. Now, as we said, our topic is on Ask the Dietitian into the festive season and New Year. What should I eat during this festive season and events and New Year Eve and business lunches? Most of the time, people look forward to thinking of okay, there are snacks or small sandwiches or juices. We can have it, or because it's not in something that's different of what we eat normally at home. So how do you look into that? Talking about all the events, let's say all the events, including New Year's or festival season or even business lunches.
See, Fahad, when you go for an event, the first thing we should do is I've seen people that before they go to an event, they will be starving entire day. They will not be taking a lot of calories because tonight is an event. I have to go out, so I'm taking care. I'm not taking a lot of calories. It could be right and wrong depending upon your body types. But if you end up eating more because you have starved the entire day, you've ruined everything, right? But if you can eat small calories, nutrient dense foods during the day and then compensate for the evening, that would be better. Now, when you are at the event, you start with the buffet. Okay, so there is soups and salads. Now, soups, more often than not, the soups have preservatives. They have taking packaged food to prepare the soups, and it does not have a lot of nutrition. But if you visit somebody's home and the soup is freshly homemade soup, then you will prefer to have a soup. Otherwise, you can refrain from soup. That's your personal choice. Just because you will be bulking in soup, but does not have a lot of nutrition. You move to the salad counter. Now, a lot of people bypass the salad counter. They don't even want to stop at the salad counter. It is important to stop at the salad counter and try different salads. Even if you are a person who does not like salad, at least try. Until you try, you will not like it, and God knows you may like that salad. Okay, even if the salad is having mayo and coleslaw, if you have already eaten a coleslaw earlier, don't try the same coleslaw. Try something new. Okay, and probably you will like the salad. Go home, go back home, pen down what ingredients were there, and try a healthier version of it. So it can be one good start from the buffet. You have learned something new. So move from the salad counter. The next is the breads. As much as possible, be low on breads. Any sort of breads, whether it is whole grain bread, whatever it is, try to be low on breads because you may in such type of events we overindulge, right? So we
Even the
want
brown breads.
any bread. Be low. I'm not saying to say no, but be low on the bread. So just a small
Below.
portion of bread, yeah, or half a caboose. In case they have sourdough breads or protein bread, you can have one portion of that, but be low on the bread. Move to the counters which has barbecue items, the tikkas, the marinades, the meat, the protein part. So this is where you can really enjoy. You can take more of protein part from that. So you can take good amount of tikka, barbecues, whatever is available. While choosing the grilled food, avoid the kebabs. The kebabs, the mincemeat ones, because they will have more amount of fat. You can go in for cubes, chicken cubes or mutton cubes. Avoid the seek kebabs. You avoid the kebabs, okay, because of the fat content in the kebabs. Okay, going for chicken, fish. The order is fish, chicken, and mutton. So more amount of fish if you are a fish eater. If you don't like fish, you move to chicken. Lean chicken, try to go for the breast portion of it. Avoid the leg pieces or the thigh portions, and then the mutton. And if you choose mutton, there should be more of chops or meat pieces than the kebabs. Then to the gravy section, when you go to the gravy section, take a small amount of gravy and then again more amount of protein. So what we are trying to do is we are getting the fat from the protein. See, don't I mean you can when you go to an event, you cannot say I'm not eating, I'm dieting. That does
Right.
not look social. That does not look nice. It looks bad. So you can have small portions of everything. The plate you have to consider that okay, I'm eating it for only today. Don't eat it as if there's no tomorrow. So you have to eat it, keeping in mind your portion control. Limit, take all the foods, but in moderation. Moderation is the key, actually. Avoid rice and starches, what I said, but go on low on breads. I personally would prefer people avoiding any sorts of French fries, colas, add-ons. These are really not needed. We can indulge in infused water better. Fresh lime soda would be better than any drink. Colas. This is easily avoidable. You can refrain from them, and you will be good to go.
I hope it is easily avoidable for everyone, especially when you're in a party, when you're in a feast. I completely agree. I think that's correct. How you've told us the flow we should follow for a person who's on a feast, especially when it's a buffet. And I completely agree. A lot of people are. Skipping the salad part and directly moving to the main course. And of course, you've got a lot of options, especially when it comes to bread or rice. That is definitely a part of it. And thank you so much for
One more thing, if they can
yeah.
possibly avoid pastas, noodles, any starches, extra, because they will be having a lot of cream and butter and white sauce. So you can really easily skip the pastas and noodles, such type of refined carbohydrates.
That's correct. That's correct. All right, great. Thank you. Now, so I've got another question here. That's very important because achieving something is, I believe, not as much difficult as being consistent on something. You plan a diet, you achieve your target, and then being consistent on that is something that is very, very important. So, Mr. Ryan has asked, how do I stay consistent with my diet?
Beautiful question. It is, in fact, very interesting to know that you should do a diet or do anything that you like. Never do something which you don't like, which your doctor or dietitian has enforced on you. Talk to the dietitian. Say, ma'am, I cannot take this food. I cannot take this food. Try out ways for, and there are multiple ways. Unless you are a person who cannot take any healthy food, okay. But there are multiple ways. So do something which you can do. Diet always has to be small, permanent lifestyle changes. We don't want big temporary changes because big temporary changes are inconsistent. You will be able to do it for only a small period of time. But if you do small permanent lifestyle changes, so believe me or not, if you make small changes of walking of 10 to 15 minutes in a day, eating in portion control, eat everything. There's nothing, there's no. Now with emerging science and changing trends and availability of so much of foods in the market, and we all want to try different cuisines and different restaurants, it's not possible to say someone to don't eat this, don't eat that, don't eat this. It's not possible at all. What you can do is eat everything in moderation, but try to do intermittent fasting. Again, intermittent fasting or any sort of fasting is a very good approach. So one day if you have ended having a gala dinner or something, next day probably you can do some sort of fast, minimize the calories coming in, have some nutritious meals, like some soups or some fruits, something very light. There's no detox. We don't want any detox something, but we want something which will give you enough amount of nutrients because you have enough amount of food in the previous night or the day, right? So consistency is very important, but it will happen only if you love what you're doing, like for work or job, anything it is. So same thing is for the diet. If you start enjoying your diet, and when you really start enjoying your diet, when you do what you want to eat, you will eat what you like. You can eat your home cooked food, the food that you've been eating from all your life. Your traditional food is the most important food. Don't go for fat diet. Don't go for something which you've not used to it, which your family members are eating something else and you're eating something else. So it's better to control your portion, eat in moderation, and then you will not have to consciously put efforts in consistency. It will come gradually.
Yeah, right. Thank you. Nasaba, I just wanted to ask you one thing. When you say intermittent fasting, you just said that we should go for intermittent fasting. But I want to understand what would be the timings of intermittent fasting, because if we look at the other side of the picture, we also, as a layman, I have read in multiple times that we shouldn't be skipping our breakfast. The breakfast should be healthy. It should be heavier than the other meals of the day. On the other side, when we go for intermittent fasting, definitely I believe the breakfast timings are skipped during that. So, or if I'm wrong, if you can just correct me on that.
Yeah, you're right, Fahad. Breakfast is a very important meal and it has to be taken on daily basis because it will supply the essential nutrients and the fuel for your body to run. Okay. Having said that, when you want to club it with intermittent fasting, see there are people who do intermittent fasting on daily basis, which is not really nice. Or some people do intense fasting of 20 hours or so, which is again not very nice on a daily basis. So if you follow balanced approach, 5:2 pattern is great. A 16 to 8 pattern, I will explain you, is great. So what you can do is 5 days in a week you can have normal food, so your nice breakfast, 3 meals, the 3 meal pattern that we see, and 2 days you can fast. So that 2 days you can easily skip the breakfast. It will not really interfere with your metabolism because you have been having proper breakfast in the times the last 5 days, right? The 16 into 8 pattern where you may skip the breakfast. Ideally, intermittent fasting should not, or any type of plan, should not be done for a long, continuous stretch. Do it for a month, 2 months, 3 months, give it a break. Come back to, you should know the switch on and switch off. Come back to the normal eating pattern. The normal eating pattern should not be haywire. It should be again balanced diet, and then again move back to it, so that you're seeing to that you're getting enough supply of all the essential nutrients. This is how, when people do intermittent fasting, they think it is great, it is good. Yes, it is good. Olive oil is good, or all these things is good, but it has to be done under moderation, with under supervision, with proper expertise. You cannot afford to do intermittent fasting for long 3 years and keep on skipping breakfast. Then automatically you will end up eating, you in the sense, the person will end up eating supplements and with deficiencies.
Right, I understand that. Thank you. Before we go on, I would still want our audience to share your healthy New Year's resolution in the comments, and if you would like to know more about your health related, especially your diet related New Year's resolution, please feel free to ask us. We've got our expert with us here who's answering a lot of questions, and of course some very informative discussion that we are having right now. Now, Saba, I would want to ask you on the importance of variety in diet. How would you talk about that?
Variety in diet is very important. See, God has created the nature, and every food has its own importance. We cannot neglect any food, right? So when we say a colorful diet, so every colored food has some importance. Even if you say an onion or a garlic, it has certain enzymes, it has certain phytochemicals, antioxidants, which is important for the body. And when you have a variety of diet, the byproducts, the gut is very healthy because it is receiving different byproducts, right? So you have a healthy gut, and you know that 90% of the body's immunity is in the gut. So a variety of diet with whole grain cereals. Now, by variety, I mean healthy diet. I don't mean variety, the feasting means whole grain cereals, good protein, lean protein, good fats, in moderation. Everything is good. You can eat everything in moderation. You get a variety of foods. You get variety of nutrients. Your gut is healthy. Your gut releases good hormones. Your brain is healthy. The brain is happy. It releases serotonin, dopamine. It's all happy hormones. The body metabolism is happy, and you are happy. So variety of diet is very important. It is important because we are so used to a particular food. If a mother is not eating fruits or vegetables, she will not force, or she will not even think of bringing those vegetables and fruits and putting it onto the platter. So the kids will not eat it. So it is passed from generations. Right? So it is important to understand how important fruits and vegetable, dairy, gluten. At present, we are speaking of balanced diet. We are speaking for general common man who is not lactose intolerant, who does not have sensitivity. So they should be taking all forms of food which is available in moderation.
Great, thank you. Okay, so I would want to ask you next question is very important. A lot of people ask this question frequently. Even we sit in any other kind of discussion related to healthy eating. It's about oil. In the market, we've got a lot of oils, a lot of promotions, a lot of advertising. A lot of people say that this is our oil is the healthiest one. It says omega-3 and like a lot of other things, to be very honest. So, which oil is the best as per you? What do you say as an expert?
Yeah, this is the one of the most common questions that people ask us, Doctor, what oil I should use. Second most common question asked us is, can I drink olive oil? Can I drink ghee? Coconut or cold pressed oils. Oil will give you equal. All oils will give you equal amount of calories. Okay, so the calorie
Uh-huh.
part is. So you need to consider that and remember that each oil will give you equal amount of calories. Okay, 1 gram of fat will give you 9 calories. Now come to the variances of oil. So the structure of oil and the fatty acid profile of oil is very important. So when you buy a bottle, in fact, you should start reading the labels. Reading the label is very important for the consumers. When you buy products, we often read the price tag. Sometimes we read the companies which are producing the product, but we don't read the label. Turn the bottle around and look for the labeling. When you read the labeling, Most of the oils that I would, we generally prefer is MUFA rich, MUFA. It is monounsaturated fatty acid. So oil which has more MUFA is heart friendly. So oil which has more amount of MUFA is automatically heart friendly. So which brings us to olive oil.
Mufa.
Yeah, MUFA. So
Okay,
when
so
you
we should
turn,
avoid those oils.
no, you should take them. You
We
should take
should take
MUFA.
them.
So when you turn the bottle of the oil, you read the label. It has more amount of MUFA, MUFA. So it is a heart friendly oil. And then they will start putting, antioxidants and so many other things, and they will be promoting as heart friendly oil, reduces cholesterol and XYZ. Second is the PUFA, PUFA. So when you read PUFA is also important for the health. But in the PUFA, the N3, which you spoke about, is more important. So you need to see that how much is N3 present in the oil. So we cannot count grams. As I said, we are, body science. We don't want to do math. But what basically we can understand is any oil which is mufa-rich oil is a healthier oil than the counterparts. So olive oil is a very good oil. It can be used in all type of preparations. Okay. Mostly, if you come to desi or Indian type of cooking or frying, deep fried frying, you can use other variants of olive oil, like maize olive oil. You can use it for frying also. You can use it for cooking. But try to remember that you're using for salads, you're using only cold press oils. Okay, cold press oil should be used for salads and ribs, etc. But for regular cooking, you can have olive oil, you can have rice bran oil, you can have mustard oil. These are all mufa-rich oils, which are heart friendly, which reduces inflammation in the body. Heart friendly, rather, I mean, it reduces inflammation in the body. So if anyone, most of us are suffering from a lot of inflammation, whether it is from the arteries or arthritis or so many other inflammatory diseases. So this is healthy for the body. So in an order, I would say my first top for priorities would be olive oil, canola, mustard oil, rice bran oil. Then we have avocado and flaxseed and all these type of oil, but they cannot be heated because of the low smoke point. The smoke point of the oil is very important.
Great. So one important thing as a layman, what I understand is that we need to see when next time when we are going for a grocery, we should see the amount of the quantity of mufa in the oil should be higher. That would be a better oil for us to consume, right?
Yes.
Right. Thank you. Okay. So what about now coming to the salt side? What about pink salt and regular salt? What's the difference on that, or which one we should be consuming?
Uh, Again, marketing strategies. Pink salt is giving more money to the distributors probably. See, pink salt definitely has a better mineral profile than the white salt. But having said that, it does not allow us to eat excess amount of pink salt, right? It has a better mineral profile, but the quantities are very limited quantities. So it's you can get that amount of minerals from other food sources also. So you may not switch between pink salt or sea salt. It's your choice. It's your personal choice. But it is not. The difference is not really vast. That the way it is being promoted, it is not as much as it is being promoted.
So that means there is no not much of the difference, right?
No, no, not much of a difference. You can buy your regular salt. See, the salt intake per se should be bare minimum. Okay. The WHO does
Uh-huh.
not allow enough. So a person who's using pink salt may does not have the liberality to have more amount of salt in the diet, because they will be having under the impression it is pink salt. I can probably add a little more. I can add it to the salads also. I can add it to my raw vegetables also. So we don't want that thing. You should avoid salt as much as possible. Salt and sugar, all white products, but basically salt and sugar should be avoided as much as possible.
Great. Very important question now. This is also every now and then people ask sugar, sweeteners, or jaggery. What do you say?
I believe in natural food sources. So sugar, if you compare sugar and jaggery, okay, so jaggery is less refined than sugar. It undergoes less processing than sugar, so it is better than sugar. If you get a good organic form of jaggery, it has minerals, antioxidants, and so many things. Okay, if you read the articles on Google, it will say it has iron and whatnot. But again, it gives you the same amount of calories. So, so you should not be under the impression that if I'm having jaggery, I can have any amount of jaggery because it is giving me so much of mineral and so much of iron. You can probably get that much of iron from a spinach also. So why not have spinach or fenugreek seeds than jaggery? But Otherwise, if you compare sugar and jaggery, jaggery is better. Okay, again, it is better. Why? Because in this season, when especially if you want to give a small snack to the kids, if you're preparing some laddus on some candies with some nuts, sesame seeds, and peanuts and almonds, it's better to use jaggery, raw form of jaggery, organic jaggery than sugar. So jaggery is better than sugar. Then the next question was sweeteners. See, sweeteners, there is stevia, which is a plant-based sweetener. There is sucralose, which is acceptable for all ages by all people. Again, but it should not be overdone. Stevia is a plant. It is available in leaf, powder, and tablet form. Sucralose is also available. Okay, but what happens is, again, the person thinks that this piece of cake is made with stevia, or a gajar ka halwa is made with stevia or sucralose, so I can end up eating half a bowl of it, right? So you will forget the calorie in the fat, the milk, and whatever add-ons are there. So you may end up eating more calories just thinking because it is made of of a sweetener. In comparison to you have a sweet or dessert which is made of actually sweet, you will take only a bite of it. So it has sweet, I will not take it. So when you count the calories, you have to be very careful. It's a very thin line, but you need to be very careful among them.
Yeah, that's a mind game, and very important that if we already know that something is made of sugar, I really need to take less of it. And if something is made of sweetener, having in mind that maybe this is going to help me not gain a lot of weight, so they have more intake of that. So that's a very important thing that we should know. Well, I just want to understand when we say sugar, white sugar or brown sugar, is there any difference or it's the same thing?
There is small difference in the processing. So brown sugar, again, jaggery sugar, brown sugar. So brown sugar is again less processed than white sugar. So anything which is less processed, unrefined is always better. So if you compare brown sugar and white sugar, then brown sugar is better. If you compare sugar and jaggery, then jaggery is better. But I would say honey is the best among the natural sweeteners because again, it has active enzymes, antioxidants. So honey would be better than sugar and jaggery. But it is difficult to get raw, unpasteurized honey. So if you get that,
Correct.
it's good.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so a very important question once again. We've spoken about it earlier. I think this will be a good thing to time to give a detailed answer on this. Should I skip dinners to lose weight? And a lot of people do that. Or there should be a meal timing that we should be looking into. And how important are the timings when you're looking forward to have a healthy diet?
Meal timings are very important. It is very important to have structured meal timings, but because of the nature of work that we are in here, especially in UAE, we may not be able to cater to that and stick to the meal timings. Okay. Uh, but it is important to stick to the meal timings, and whatever meal you're having, you need to sit down properly in a cool, calm environment. Keep your phone aside, take good 10 to 15 minutes and finish your meal. You need to chew the food properly. You need to see that the process of eating, you're enjoying the food. The process of digestion, the eating process should be done very well. Okay. The next question was skipping of dinners. No, skipping of no meal is advocated. So don't skip dinners. If you're having a late dinner, probably see every meal is important, whether it's breakfast, lunch, or dinner. So we should not skip dinners. There are cases when you're doing it is again tailor made and customized and individualized. If you're following intermittent fasting and where you are expected to have an early dinner by 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and that is a different case. But if you're on regular basis, if you're asking me, I will skip dinners, will I lose more weight? People who skip dinners may probably end up doing night munching sometimes. They will feel hungry, so they will end up eating something, whatever's there on the layer in the fridge and on the countertop, or they will have a heavy breakfast in the morning. So if you skip any meal, a meal, you will end up eating more calories in the next meal. Probably, most probably, you will end up eating more calories without even realizing what you're doing. So the realization of food when you're sitting down and eating in a nice cool environment, you need to realize what food you're eating. You need to chew the food properly. So skipping dinner or any meal is not an option unless it is structured for you. It is designed by a trained professional for you, and it is needed for you. In case it's the late dinner, you come back home late at night and you still want to have dinner, you don't want to sleep hungry or feeling hungry, the best alternative would be a good protein source, any lean meat or any vegetarian source of protein, a small quantity of protein. Try to keep your carbs bare minimum, have a good quantity of protein and some veggies here and there, and you are sorted. A glass of milk can serve the purpose. In this winter season, you can have turmeric milk. These are antiseptic properties. So a glass of turmeric milk or saffron milk would be great. Don't skip the meal. Don't skip the meal.
Okay, so eat anything in a very small quantity, but do not skip the meal. This is what we derive out of the
Eat
answer that you've given.
protein. Eat protein in a small
Protein,
quantity. I don't eat
protein
anything
in
in a
small
small
quantity.
quantity.
Exactly, that's correct. Uh, what is the best time to do the exercise? Well, now a lot of people, I would want to, add on to this question before you answer, so that you can just look into the whole aspects. A lot of people who go to gym, I have seen a few of my friends who are going into the gym late at night, like maybe around 12 o'clock in the mid of the night, sometimes. And should we go to the gym after food or before that? Uh, how do we look into, even if those who are not going to the gym, exercise means even a walk also, so what would be the best time to
The best time to exercise is number one, wherever you can fit in, because you should not have an excuse that I don't have time to exercise, so I'm not exercising. So there has you can just fit in exercise anywhere. But a more correct answer would be, there are researches which are going on, and they say that women who exercise during the morning lose more fat than women who do
Uh-huh.
exercise in the evening. So women who are doing exercises in the morning are probably losing more fat from the body, and women who are doing exercises in the evening are doing more of gaining more of body strength. Some studies with the type 2 diabetic patients also have gone on, and they have seen that people who do exercise between 3 and 6, the time frame between 3 and 6, have a better glycemic response. They have better insulin sensitivity. So this is
Mhm.
structured timing, but the exercise has to be there. There has to be a set timing for exercise. Okay, probably if you can do that, if you have set timings for work, like 9 hours, 10 hours duty, and you come back home at a set time, there has to be a set time for exercise. It should be consistent, and so the body has a proper sleep-wake cycle, right? So if you are exercising at 10 a.m. in the morning every day, the body will predict that, okay, 10 a.m. in the morning, the body will go into that type of exercising zone. It is important to exercise whatever time it is, whether you have no excuses. One, when you want to consider timing, it is better to exercise in the morning, especially outdoors during the sun, so you can get more amount of vitamin D absorption is so better with the sun. You get better absorption rate. And also the sun is a very important regulator of the circadian cycle, the sleep wake cycle. So it is, if possible, it is better to go outdoors and exercise, get more amount of oxygen, view of the nature, than to do indoor exercises. And
All
for
right, that's right.
and the
Yeah.
question, who are doing late night exercises. See, if you're doing late night exercises, again, there are people who come back home late, but they still want to exercise. So again, they are most welcome to do the exercise, but try to avoid intense workout, because it will create a different environment in the hormones. Okay, so you may not be able to sleep well after intense workout. A proper good exercise of 15-20 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hour, moderate intensity exercise is good. But if you do hardcore intensity intense exercise late nights, could probably interfere with the sleep cycle. So as I always say, it's a complete 360 degrees approach. It is not one aspect that you have to look in for.
Correct, correct, I completely understand that. Well, we've covered a lot of common questions that normally people ask, and I think this was a very informative session. I'm going to go for my last question that I think is an important question once again. Uh, if one lose weight with a specific diet, will he or she regain it on stopping it? Again, we're talking about the consistency that was asked by Mr. Nakash earlier. Uh, how do we look into that? Because or even not to regain the weight. What should be the different time frames, or I should say intervals, where we should stop dieting or we should continue to maintain the diet, the weight that we have worked hard and lost.
We worked harder to gain the weight. We see, when you have lost a substantial amount of weight, uh, and after the journey is accomplished and you reach your target, and or even if you are in between your journey and you are happy with your weight loss, try to maintain that. Don't go slow, or don't get easy on that. Okay, I've lost good amount of 10 kilos and 15 kilos of weight, now I'll be. That is the reason I'm telling, while that loss of 10 to 15 kgs, if you do hardcore dieting, hardcore physical activity, you refrain yourself from XYZ foods, so you are consisting yourself into a cage type of a system. The moment you move out of the cage, you will start in getting the weight, right? So try to do something which you like. So while those 10 to 12 kgs or 15 kgs of weight loss period for a period of good 6 months, say, or 9 months, whatever it is, you have to see to that you do what you have liked. So you will not regain the weight back. This is how you will consistently not regain the weight. It is natural for any adult to gain 2 to 3 kilos or 5 kilos sometimes under some medical conditions in a year's time. But try to stick to the physical activity. The moment you leave the physical activity, see, you've been trying to increase a BMR, body metabolic rate, through food, through physical activity and everything. The moment you stop doing all that, again it will come down, right? So the moment the BMR
Yeah.
comes down, you will stop burning calories, so you will regain the weight. So a lot of people ask me and they tell me that rather I not start diet only, rather I may not exercise only, because I'm scared if I will lose, if I'll stop, I'll put on weight. Yes, you will put on weight, but you do something which you are it is easily manageable, so don't go for gym and go for 2 hours of gym, because you cannot continue that 2 hours of gym unless you love going to the gym. You may not want to go to the gym always if you don't, if you're a person or a gym going person, but you may want to go for a walk or a stroll for 20 to 30 minutes.
Correct.
Continue with that walk. You may want to walk. We are using only elevators now. We are not using the stairs. Every building has staircases, if we are aware of. So start using the staircases. Bring that habits back, bring traditional habits back. Start using the staircase wherever possible. Most often we are in a hurry and we are rushed, so we'll be using the elevators. But when we have time, leisure, at least one floor, two floor, three floors, gradually, set small realistic goals. When you set small realistic achievable goals, the weight will not bounce back. It will bounce back like 1 or 2 kilos in a year, which is acceptable. But it will not bounce back the way people lose X diet, and the 10 kgs bounces back because they have done everything to get the weight down, and then they enjoy, make merry, and it comes back again.
That's right. That's right. If yeah, what I understand, and I think this is really good. I just wanted to add on to what you said, summarizing the answer that we, if we be consistent on something, especially on small goals that you said, giving an example of using a staircase, this will really help us, keeping us motivated on our weight losing, habits, I should say. And of course, you would, if you will be consistent, you will, gain a kilo or two in a year, especially when the festive year or a new year is coming up, maybe when more of the parties are happening. Even if we look into the other side, towards the Asia, more of the weddings are happening at this time, and people intend to really lose weight during the wedding seasons because everybody wants to look good, of course. So yeah, that's correct. I've got a question here from Mr. Abdul Wahab once again, and I would just keep it here. Is there any relationship between weight and calories? And I think he added to that. This is what he added. I mean, how do I calculate my calories? I need according to my weight. So how do you answer that?
There is a long formula to go according to this. We have to calculate the calories according to the body metabolic rate. So it is a long formula to understand it. But in a layman terms, like Dr. Asio also had 1800 to 2000 calories or 2200 calories, depending upon the body frame. So you need to take into a lot of criteria: the anthropometric measurements, the height of the person, the body composition of the person, the BMI is general index of height and weight, the fat percentage of the person, the lifestyle of the person, to calculate the calories he needs. Okay, you need a basic amount of calories to sustain the regular activities. But if I have to sit down and talk to you and design a plan for you, I need to take into consideration the anthropometric measurements: your height, your structure, your frame, your genetics, your lifestyle, how you've been doing earlier. If a person has been eating 2000, 2500 calories directly, we cannot come back to 1200 or 1400 calories just because it will give weight loss. It's very difficult for that person to follow. So a gradual decline in the calorie is important, and equally important is the caloric expenditure. So you decrease the calories and you increase the caloric expenditure. So you have to design a framework which cannot be generalized this way.
So what I would suggest, Mr. Abdul Wahab, is that you can always visit Ms. Sabah regards to your diet plan, and for sure she'll be able to guide you accordingly as per your current height and weight. Definitely. Thank you very much, Sabah. This has been a very informative and a great session. A lot of people ask questions. A lot of people are watching us at the moment, and definitely a lot of them will be watching us later, related to this very important session related to Ask the Dietitian and the festive year, and of course the new year. Uh, New Year is here with us with a lot of feasts, I should say. Now, we're moving towards the closing of the session. I would really want you to give a very short, precise message or take home message, I should say, which you want the audience to know before the end of the session, please. Thank you.
Fahad, this is my favorite quote, rather, I would say. And in all my diet plans, all my patients will be knowing that my diet plans has this written in bold letters in orange. You have to do mindful eating. You have to have an, I have explained what is mindful eating. You have to have a holistic approach towards food. Food has emotions. Food is directly related to emotions. So if you eat the same food with the negative emotions, anxiety, stress, the metabolism will be definitely affected. So a holistic approach towards food is very important. You need to love your food. Don't eat food which you don't like. So I never give my patients something which they don't like, even if it is the best of food. I may give them some alternative, and or rather over the period of time, you'll explain them that this is how it is important for you. Start loving your food. It is important to love your food, eat what you love, but at the same time, mindful eating is very important. The next most important is to do small permanent lifestyle changes. I have said earlier also, it is important to do small permanent changes. Drinking 2 glasses of extra water is a small change. Walking one floor with your child is another. It's an activity with a child, right? Both the parents, the parent and the child is having. So you're engaging into good activity. When you're engaging into good activity, positive attitude, there is positive outcomes of hormones. Hormones play a very important role in weight management. Okay, a person who is wanting to lose weight and is not able to lose weight, she's in a that person, most often we get ladies continuously, they're in a negative background, they, I'm not losing, so they're getting the release of hormones which is not nice, not getting good hormones. Try to be as happy, as positive as you can. I will lose weight, yes, I will. I tell my clients every morning, get up in the morning, look at yourself in the frame. I'm beautiful, I will lose weight, I can do well. Maybe you will lose weight. But if you say, I cannot lose weight, I tried for so many years, nothing is happening. Oh, Allah, it not happen. It will not happen.
That's great. That's great. Thank you. Thank you so very much, Sabah, for all the information that you've given. Once again, I would like to tell everyone that Sabah is currently practicing in Prime Medical Center Specialist, Prime Specialist Medical Center, which is in Sharjah, I should say in Safir Market. That's where you can always connect to her. You can always book an appointment through the numbers that you can see at the bottom. That's 04707099. That will be the number for Ms. Sabah to be, you can book an appointment with her. We've spoken about a lot today in regards to diet. The reason we brought this topic at the end of the year when we are closing, and this will be our last webinar of this year. Definitely we'll be coming back with a new webinar on cervical cancer, just to let you know, in the next month, that is January 2023. But we wanted to have this session with everyone because a lot of people have this resolution in regards to, the New Year's resolution that they'll be having a good diet, a healthy body, or talking about a lot of other things. So that's why we wanted to bring this topic, and I'm sure everyone would. Love to, would have loved it, in fact, and of course, those who will be watching this live session later. So, Ask the Dietitian Festive Season and New Year. That was the session for today. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. And before we end up, a very, very happy New Year to all our audience, our members, our patients, everyone who's watching us or who will be watching us later. A very, very happy New Year once again. As Prime is all about personalized care, this is what we are trying to deliver to our community, overall around the world. Thank you very much once again, and stay blessed. Have a good, healthy New Year's resolution, and may God bless you all. That's the last webinar of 2022. We'll be seeing you again in 2023. Take care. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.